The American ethic is something that's quite dear to me in a lot of ways. For all the faults of the U.S. and some of the cultural things that are going on, fundamentally the American ethic is one of optimism and drive, and we're going to make things happen. And I grew up in, obviously you can tell from my accent, growing up in England, and there's on a surface level, there's a lot of similarities between the UK and the US, but actually in terms of life outlook and worldview, in many ways they couldn't be further apart. And it's not always like this, but I think if you were to look at the dominant cultural model, the UK is kind of there's almost a reverse snobbery element. Like how dare that person be successful? Oh, how dare you earn more money than a nurse does down the road? That's outrageous. And there's always it's like a crabs in a bucket sort of thing. And there's definitely been an element of that come into American culture, but it's not nearly to the same extent. And you also have, if you just go to East Denver and observe how people are, it's this relentless work ethic and drive to get things done. Everyone you'll talk to anywhere has some sort of profession. A very American thing is, but maybe it's like if you're sort of surrounded by oxygen, you don't notice the air you breathe. But like, I'm struggling to pay my rent. I know. Let me build a business on the side. No one else would think to do that. That's such an American thing, but it's just so natural. And if you look at crypto, that ethic has sort of permeated the entire industry to the point where, usually in our searches, we're recruiting somebody who's already in the industry, but that's not always true. And on those rare occasions where I have a search, say we're recruiting someone in Europe, in particular, working in crypto, and they don't work in crypto already, I'll have this chat with them every time. It's like, hey, this is not going to be your 38 hours a week. You take August off work. Work-life balance, don't answer your emails in the evening. Crypto is 24/7. It's not like that. Yes, you get paid really well. Yes, it's exciting, but they're gonna work you really hard. I don't want you to be under any illusions about that. I never need to have that chat with North Americans that that don't work in the industry, but I always have that chat with Europeans. And I have had times where people said, you know what, I'm glad you told me that. No, I don't think I'm up for that. I think I'm going to reconsider this path. And yes, there are some downsides to, hey, is it wise to work 60, 80 hours a week for the entirety of your life? No, I don't think anyone's about that. I think all of us in the space are thinking this is something we do for now, and we're going to dial it back when we get older and we've achieved success. But there is that vision, that vehicle for success, that really speaks a lot to me. And I grew up very poor, which you might not believe if you hear my accent. I don't know where my accent came from, but it could not be life could not be more different now than it was, say, 30 years ago. And I think I have America and the American ethic to thank for a great deal of that. Anyone who's spoken to me personally probably knows this, but if you're just seeing this content and we haven't spoken, you might not know that I actually live in Mexico. And to the European eye, Mexico kind of feels like a combination of Southern Europe and the USA. There's that, even though, in many ways, very drastically culturally different countries, right? The USA and Mexico might be the two most dissimilar countries that are neighboring in the world. But in terms of that ethic and dynamism, I mean, it's here in a way that you just don't see in the old world. Actually, Mexicans work crazy hours. It's just like sometimes 6-7 days a week, 12, 16 hours a day. I mean, you just wouldn't see that in Europe. And you see this kind of, I say, and it's hard to define, but if you go to anywhere in Europe, especially Western Europe, there's a kind of permanence and a stability and a certainty about things that nothing ever really changes. But you come to North America, and I've never been to South Africa, but I imagine it's exactly the same. Things are changing all the time. There's always construction work somewhere. Someone's always got a side hustle going on. It's a builder explorer mindset. I guess Europe's more of a, I don't know, is it aristocratic mindset? Maybe that's not the right terminology, but there's a distinct difference in ethos that I think is across the new world versus the old world.